Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Ben Smith and I make videos about growing up in a modern family in New York City. The idea of my channel is that by hopefully sharing my perspective, I'll encourage others to share their stories, and through that we can bring the world a little bit closer together. And I think that's something that we especially need in a time like right now. So this video is going to be a little bit different than the videos that I've made in the past. It's going to be me offering my commentary and then also my perspective on a video made by Vogue and Josephine Skriver, who's a Victoria's Secret model that has gay parents. So I thought that was really cool, and she has some really valuable insight here. So I wanted to share this with you and then also offer my feedback as well. Without further ado, let's check this out. Also, I'll be eating oat milk ice cream, because I'm pretty lactose intolerant, so this is what we deal with.
My name is Josephine Skriver. I'm here to talk about a cause that's really, really close to my heart, because I grew up in the LGBTQ community, and in my case, I grew up with two gay parents. But I know you guys are very curious and there's a lot of questions, so I wanted to talk to you about what the kids of the LGBTQ community is kind of tired of hearing. How were you conceived? Did your parents actually have sex? And honestly, that's a really private matter. But any kid from the LGBT community, there's so many ways to have a kid nowadays. Were you ever scared?
Okay, so I by the way, I did watch this video yesterday, so I have a little bit of an idea of what she talked about. So the first question, how were you conceived? Josephine is definitely right. There are many different ways. The main ways are through adoption, either international adoption, which was the route that my parents went through, or domestic adoption within the country that you live in, the foster care system, and then either IVF, in vitro fertilization, through a sperm bank, or surrogacy is also gaining popularity as well. And then there's different time and costs associated with each route. So what's right for one family might be different from what's right for another family. So yeah, a little bit of background.
You're ever scared to turn gay? I'm like, gay is not something you turn, and that's like maybe one of the most confusing questions to me. And I think growing up in a family that was so open about being in the community really taught me that everything is okay, and it really taught me to be open-minded. Then another thing people...
Okay, so the question was were you ever scared to turn gay? And yeah, I think that there's a lot that's wrong with this question. First off, the framing of the question, the context of the question, were you ever scared to turn gay, implies that being gay is a bad thing. And to make a clear example, we're not taught in school that we should be scared to turn straight, right? Because that's the norm, that's the societal norm. So yeah, society in many places will tell us that being gay is a bad thing, which it's not. So if being gay is not a bad thing, then there should be no reason to be scared to turn gay. So I was never scared about my sexuality. I know that my parents would support me no matter what. I'm just Ben, living my life, and I think that's what's most important. So I was never scared about being gay, being straight, being whatever I am. And I'll definitely talk about this more in a future video. So, next question.
It really taught me that everything is okay, and it really taught me to be open-minded. Then another thing people do a lot, they pity me. They'll be like, you must have been bullied a lot. Was it hard for you growing up like this? And honestly, no. And I get a little bit offended about that, because I was really, really lucky growing up in a world that was really open to me. But it does bother me, because there is kids out there who will be bullied. There is kids out there that has a hard time. And I do think that the more we talk about it and the more open-minded we will be, the more we can stop this from happening. Another thing...
Okay, so the bullying question is a really good question, something I definitely want to cover in more depth in the future. But for my personal situation, I can definitely say that growing up in New York was a privilege. People say that there's a New York bubble, and there is absolutely a New York bubble. It is the epicenter of diversity of backgrounds, cultures, and also opinion. So having my unique family, having my unique background was never a problem growing up. I was very lucky though. That being said, I think the extent to which I ever received any, indirect bullying was more so that's so gay jokes. That's so gay jokes sort of took over the nation while I was in high school, I think. And of course, that's not nice because when someone would say that's so gay, another way of saying that they're saying that as an insult, and that's something that is part of my family, growing up in an LGBTQ family. So that wasn't nice. And then there's, of course, locker room talk as well, where I'm sure you are all familiar with locker room talk, but where guys in the locker room will make gay jokes because they think that being gay diminishes someone's masculinity, which of course it does not. You can be a gay man and be equally masculine to a straight man. So those things were, I would say, indirect forms of just negativity. I wouldn't call it bullying in my case. But that being said, if I had grown up in a different place in the United States or in a different country where there are no gay rights whatsoever, I know that my situation would probably be a lot different. So I feel very lucky and I feel very privileged to have grown up in New York. Yeah, New York. Okay, next question.
People get confused with that. They think I missed out on the real role model. And honestly, nowadays, is there really such thing as an old school male and female role? I was so lucky. I grew up with parents who was a little bit of everything. So who's your mom?
Okay, these two questions are very similar, so I'll let Josephine answer this question as well.
Who's your real dad? What role fits where? And every family is so different. You can be adopted, you can be surrogate, you can be anything. And they're still your parents. And nowadays, I'm so happy that we live in a world where you can have multiple moms and you can have multiple dads. And nobody's less of a mom to you than anyone else. So if you relate to someone as your mom, she's your mom.
Okay, so I didn't answer this that clearly on the video, so I want to try again. But basically, one of the first things that my dad's taught me while growing up is that families can come in many different forms. They can have two dads, they can have two moms, they can have a mom and a dad and a single parent, or a guardian. And that was the case for me. I never thought that I needed a traditional, mother, father role figure. Because the truth of the matter is I had many parents and they all filled various roles that maybe a traditional mother role or a traditional father role would fill. The most important thing is that they were strong, loving, and supportive parents. And beyond that, nothing else matters. I know that some adopted kids and maybe kids that were raised in single parent households are curious about the parents that they didn't grow up with. But I think that's a different conversation than the importance of having a traditional male or female role model growing up. And in my mind, really the only important thing, like I said before, is just having a strong presence of support and love via the parents or guardians that are around the kids, that are supporting the kids. Okay, hopefully that was clear. Let's go to the next question. I'll definitely talk about this topic as well in the future. I think this is a really important one.
To you than anyone else. So if you relate to someone as your mom, she's your mom. A lot of people want to know it was uncomfortable for my friends to come over when I was a kid, or if they wanted to do less play dates with me. And luckily that was never the case. I was so happy that my place actually became a safe haven for most of them. It was a place where you could explore being whoever you wanted to be because, we were so open-minded about everyone. And I actually had friends who came out to me because of that, because they saw that it was possible to be anything but the norm, and it was possible to not having to be in one box.
Okay, so I think this is an amazing question. Were other kids ever uncomfortable coming over to my house for a play date to hang out because of my LGBTQ family? So the answer for me was never. I grew up in New York again, and being in New York made that easier, but I think that there's a larger lesson that we can take from this question. And I think it's that kids just want to be kids. Kids just want to meet other people, want to have fun, want to enjoy the time, and build Legos together, do arts and crafts together, go to the park together, whatever it may be, but they just want to have fun and make new friends with other kids. Kids see other kids as kids. So usually when we as adults meet other people, we're passing lots of judgment, and we're qualifying new people that we meet in terms of their background, in terms of their interests and likes and dislikes and sexual orientation as well, rather than just seeing them as a human being, which is what they are. And kids, like I said, because they're at an age of innocence, haven't developed that ingrained societal judgment that we get while growing up in society, and we're taught what's good and what's bad. So no, the answer is no. My friends actually really loved coming over to my house for play dates. It was never an uncomfortable experience. And my friends' parents were also very supportive as well, because they wanted their children to be exposed to diversity and different definitions of what it means to be a family. So again, that was definitely a privilege of growing up in New York. But yeah, for me, it was never a problem. Okay, let's see if there's anything else.
Anything but the norm, and it was possible to not having to be in one box. That wraps up what you pretty much shouldn't be asking kids with parents from the LGBT community. So May 1st is International Family Equality Day. Same day, Gay Me Baby is available on iTunes. Remember,
And that's a movie.
when you're watching, to use the hashtag Gay
I haven't
Me
watched
Baby
that movie,
on
but
your
I
Twitter
should.
or your Instagram, so I can follow whoever's watching, and I'll tweet you guys back.
Okay, so that is the whole interview or questionnaire thing with Josephine Skriver. She's a really outspoken activist in the LGBTQ community, specifically for families and also for kids with gay parents. So big props to her. I really appreciate all that she does. And hopefully I'll meet you one day, Josephine. So if you see this video, or if you ever come across my profile somehow, definitely reach out. And in the future, I definitely want to cover these topics with a little bit more depth. Let me know if you have any other ideas for me, and if you think that this format of video was helpful. Just me talking with you. So that's the video. Hopefully you took something from both Josephine's perspective and then also my perspective as well. And I hope to see you next time. All right, peace.